Hey, welcome to my lifestyle chat channel. This is part 11 of Nosy, Nuisance, Noisy Neighbours, when social services and police blatantly tell lies on you. But before I get into this video, there's three things that I want to say, which is I get bored. Basically, I get very bored, and I am very bored. But I get bored when people try to make me feel as if it's just me, like I'm going through these experiences because it's me, because I look rough or something, or because I don't look right, because I don't look put together, because my hair's not like straight enough, because I got bags under my eyes, or because I got lines on my face, or because I look rough, you know, and I'm not feminine enough, I haven't got on a pretty enough cocktail looking dress, or I haven't got enough like high heel shoes on my feet or something. This is the reason, because I just look rough. Yeah, that's what I'm going through, these like rough experiences, or why the police or these housing associations decided to like put me in this rough area. Yeah, I do get bored of people. Yeah, and the thing I get bored of is, like, you know, when you're just like a nice, placid, calm person minding your own business, minding your own P's and Q's. You're just quite quiet, you're quite mellow, laid back person. You don't really, you know, you're just mellow, you just keep yourself to yourself. And then people always are like, well, you got resting moody bitch face, you know, or why are you so shy, you know, or why you don't talk, why you don't crack enough jokes and make us laugh a bit more, you know, or why you so shy, why you don't talk to people, you know, or you're too quiet, why you don't talk to my friends, you know, you don't talk enough, you're not talking to my friends, you know, you're not cracking enough laughing jokes. Yeah, come on, lighten up the vibe, lighten up the mood, tell some jokes, right? People always like this, right? And then as soon as you open your mouth, right, and you explain yourself or your situation, or as soon as you open your mouth, they're shutting you down. They don't want to hear anything you got to say. Okay, they're just shutting you down. Okay, yeah. Or when like you walk into a room and then everyone, it's like a Wild West saloon moment. Yeah. When you do like eventually say something like to lighten the mood, or you crack a joke, or like if you're in good sense of humour or something, it's like Wild West saloon moment. Yeah, it's like that. Or they start saying to you, why are you explaining yourself? You don't need to explain yourself. What are you talking for? So, you know, it's like you can't, whatever you do, you can't win. You know, some people in this life, I don't know if it's because I'm a chosen one, or what the hell ever it is on YouTube to just keep talking about these chosen ones. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but some people in this life, it's like no matter what you do, yeah, you can't win. Yeah, you can't please everybody. So the best thing is, if you find that, the best thing then is to just please yourself. You know, that's the best thing to do then. Just tell everyone to F off and leave you the fuck alone, and let you carry on with what you're doing. Or when people say, you know what you need to do, right? Because people keep utilising your energy. Yeah, and what you need to do is call back your energy. Yeah, you say, you know what, you're right. So, you know, I'm going to call back my energy to myself. And then they turn around and say, no, why are you calling back your own energy? Because you don't know what those other people have done with your energy. So you don't need to call back your energy. Like, just make up your mind, you know. So yeah, I want to basically conclude what I'm saying, yeah. So I'm doing this series, Nosy, Nuisance, Noisy Neighbours, because I started off talking about an eviction order that I've been given in my current residence. So I decided to retract and go back and explain how I ended up living in a one bedroom flat above some shops in a busy town centre. Yeah, so go back, watch part 1 to 10. I ended up moving back into the manor of Solihull. If you go back and watch part 10, I'll carry on. And well, when I first moved into the flat, it had no carpet, and the place smelt rank of some animals' cat's piss, yeah. and I had to get some Jessops and bleach the floor out to get rid of this cat piss smell. Yeah. And so then I eventually decorated it. Like, I put down my laminated floor and done the walls and whatever else, you know, trying to make it more homely. I got my 2-bedroomed apartment back at the manor of Solihull, and so I was obviously there with my newborn, and I really don't like talking about racism, because we all know racism exists. I don't know, I don't see any outcome or solution to just when black people, when we just keep raving about how UK, England, how it's racist, you know, and all these like racist like institutional experiences that we just all keep going through and experiencing. Is there any solution to just like talking about it, talking about it? So to be honest, I really don't like talking about racism, because we all know that England, that is racist, and no matter how much they try to pretend and deny, oh no, we're not a racist country. Look at all these immigrants we invite in from other parts of the world, yeah, and give them houses and give them jobs and do this and rare, yeah. So, you know, we're so tolerant of everybody, and we're the least racist country and this and that, yeah, but we all know that England, yeah, that is institutionally racist. We all know that. So I don't really see any point in like denying it, and I don't see any point in just keep stating the obvious. Laptop? It's in the other room. Unless you're gonna like actively do something about the situation, yeah, do something about it. What's the point to just keep mentioning staying the obvious? Where's my laptop? The area that I'm from, as I've said in some videos, it's very like background, the history of it. It's England. So most towns, you know, they're predominantly white Caucasian population and demographic, obviously, because we're in England. And the area, yeah, Solihull, it's very much like that. And I've heard many people, as I said, because it's like a town that's on the outskirts of Birmingham. Many people, when you go further on into like the inner city parts of Birmingham, if you mention Solihull, they always say, oh, that place is racist. They always say this, but because I grew up there, because I was born there and grew up there, and while I was there, when I was at school, I never really experienced a lot of racism, and I never really noticed the racism, to be honest with you. And I think partly it's because I had that protection of being like with my family in my mum and dad's family house, and I keep mentioning how Solihull is like on the outskirts of Birmingham, but also the part of Solihull that I'm mentioning, I'm gonna call it the manor for now. It's also like on the border between like two areas. It's on the border of like it's on the border of the manor. And since returning back there so many years later, I've come to realise what people mean when they say, oh, it's like this and it's like that, because it gets quite a bad rap as well. They say it's kind of like, you know, it's not quite like underprivileged, but people just have this impression of it, you know, from other areas. They say, oh, it's sort of like, it's one of those type of areas where it's like, it's a bit of like a low economic area, and nothing to say is that it's racist, this and that. But because I grew up in my mum and dad's house, and it's kind of like on the border of the manor, it's slightly what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to explain. Basically, when I moved back into the area, I was right in the centre. I was right in the town centre of the area. And only then I understood what people mean when they say, oh, there's a lot of druggies, or like people selling drugs goes on in this area. And another thing about it, they say about it, is that a lot of women, like, they get pregnant very young. Like, they'll have like a kid at like just when they've just leave school, and they'll have a child like just to get a council flat. It's this type of area. That's what they say about it. And another thing, even though it's predominantly white, you get sort of like, it's an area where you'll get like white women, yeah, they'll love up the black men, and then they'll have like mixed race kids. Yeah, so it's this kind of area. It's predominantly white, and then you'll have like your mixed race kids. Yeah. I'm talking about back in the day, obviously, because I'm saying like what it was like when I grew up there. Because as I said, everywhere has changed so much. You know, even that, you know, a lot of places the makeup and the demographic has changed immensely. Yeah, but I'm explaining how the area was from when I was there, like when I grew up there. So because of all this, it has a reputation of like being a certain, like the people are being a certain way. You know, they say they're not ghetto, but they say they're kind of like a little bit ghetto and they're a bit feisty. But many people, they're not really feisty. They're not really like Brumtown people. They're just like a different type of person, type of people. And yeah, and another thing I'll say, it's racist. But as I'm saying, I never really experienced much racism when I was there. I'm not saying I didn't experience it at all, because that would be me being delusional. Yeah. So I'm not saying I didn't experience racism, obviously. Growing up, I didn't really experience much like racism. I had white friends, and you know, I got on quite well in school. I had really minimal issues at school. I didn't have any issues growing up, really, especially to do with race. I didn't have any issues, really. What? Yeah, so only when I moved back, I'm aware sometimes my voice is going off the scale, sounding like a twittering, fluttering bird in distress or something. So yeah, only when I moved back after being in Wolverhampton for 3 years, when I moved back to the area, only then I started to realise what people mean when they say the area can be quite racist. I would say I started to experience and understand what they was talking about, because it was with a different housing association, this one was. And it's like a communal block. It's a bit like a masonette, but I wouldn't really call it a masonette, but it was sort of like a masonette block. So with 3 levels. So you had so I had mother who lived downstairs. I was on the 2nd floor. Well, you got like ground floor, then the 1st floor. So I wasn't on the ground level, I was on the one above it. And there was another mother who lived on the same level as myself. And yeah, so you had 2 people downstairs, 2 people on the level that I was on, myself included, and then 2 people upstairs. And I didn't really have many issues with the people there. It was like, they were all mothers, basically. It was all families. Because this association, it was more, they deal more with women and families, with children. So that was the type of housing association that it was. And those were the type of residents that I had. So it was much better in that instance. Much, much better. So basically there was one Muppet who lived above me, and she just kept making noise. Again, I just started to experience not quite exactly the same thing, because I started to experience a more toned down version of what I was experiencing previously at the other places. But it was much more toned down, it was much more subtle. So the one lady that lived above me, she kept making noise, banging. And then when I would tell the housing about it, she would say, oh, it's my kids. It's my kids playing and messing about. Where it wasn't her kids, it was her. Because I could tell the difference between when her kids were running around, running up and down, to when it was just her being a muppet. Like I could hear when she was doing a vacuuming. Obviously, like, you have to vacuum, don't you? Like, you have to clean and tidy your place, and it's going to make noise. You can't help that. So I could hear the difference between when it was her kids, when it was her vacuuming, and when it was just her being a muppet, like walking up and down in stiletto shoes. just to bother my brain, just to make noise. I could tell the difference. So she would do that. She would just basically make noise, and she would just, another one, just being a pest. I think she just, she thought she was Victoria Beckham with, she used to get that, like, you know, suntan lotion to tan herself. She used to wear this crazy orange tan, yeah, but I'd see her, like, going outside with her sunglasses and her outfit and her hair all pinned back, jumping in a car, thinking she was Victoria Beckham or something. But she just started, like, she'd start throwing porridge out of her window so that it would land on my window, on my bedroom window, so that you know, I'd open my curtains and it would look like I had vomit or sick on my window and, like, all on my windowsill. She would just be behaving like this, like a muppet, just muppet behaviours. And then, so there was her, and then mother who lived below me. She had a husband, and her husband had a van outside in the car park. And the van was, her husband did, like, drain. He was a drain technician. So she just felt like she was neighbourhood. She must have, like, been neighbourhood watch or something, because she felt like it was her. She assigned herself to just run to social services, and she would report back basically to children's services, like anything. Like, for example, if I was coming upstairs and I had to leave my son down at the bottom of the stairs and bring my shopping up the stairs, you know, for my son to be safe, I'd bring my shopping up first, or I'd bring him up first, or whatever, you know. She'd have to go and report to social services, like, absolutely. Yeah, she just made it her business to make my business her business, if that's what you want to call neighbourhood watch. I don't know, but, you know, that's what I found with her. And then she was one who, you know, when you get people and they just copy everything you do. So she was like that. It's like she just have to copy everything I did, but she had to do it, like, 10 times better, you know. So, for example, if I got myself a new TV, the next thing I'd see her, like, with a brand new TV, like, but a massive widescreen one on her wall, like a brand new one as well. Or, I don't know, she just was like this. There was another lady who, well, when I first moved in, there was a young girl, and she was, like, she was doing drug dealing, and then I think her boyfriend was drug dealing, and he had to go into jail or something, and then she had to get evicted because she wasn't paying her rent. And when she left, another lady moved in. I didn't have any real issues with her anyway. And then who else? The lady on my floor, she was fine. She just, if I saw her, she'd say hello, I'd say hello, but she didn't really talk with me. We didn't really get to know each other on a deep personal level. Oh yeah, and then the one who lived above me, every time I went to the shops, because again, this flat, it was right in the town centre of that area, of the manor, I'll call it. And so the shops were literally just across the road. And anytime I went to the shops, she'd be like, I'd see her, like, going to the shops as well. But she eventually, like, she was friendly enough. She was quite friendly. But then what she started to do was the same thing. Was if I was going out communal doors, because she was a smoker, and then what she would do is be having smoke outside the window and be letting, like, the ash drop on my head as I'm walking. She started, like, just being a muppet as well. And just muppet behaviours, basically. I was experiencing this from, you know, and what I found was they all sort of congregated and talked with each other, but they never really spoke with me. You know, that's another thing. And they all kind of, like, went round to each other's houses, but they never really spoke with me. They would just say hello to me, and that was it. And then if they'd see me, like, coming down the stairs in the communal area, if, for example, I'd see two of them, they'd always be chatting with each other. And then, for example, there was one time when there was a big spider under the stairs in the corner, and when I'd be coming down the stairs, they'd be, like, giving me this look, and they'd be going, oh look, the spider, there's a big black spider there, it's really creepy. Like this, and that was like the manner of mode of, that was the extent of mode of like conversation they would have with me, but yet they would all congregate and like chat with each other and gossip with each other. So, you know, I wasn't really included with them. I just felt like I was being like excluded from the women that I was living around, but it didn't really bother me anyway, because they weren't really they weren't really the kind of people I would like befriend and associate with anyway. You know, just mind my own business. So yeah, basically just all like white women, yeah, with the white husbands and boyfriends and the white children. Yeah, and obviously then I'm like the odd one out, because obviously I'm not the only blackie, obviously, yeah, so that's just the situation, isn't it? Which was basically, you know, this area manor growing up, that was the situation. You know, there's a few and far between black families, but I've got an older brother and older sister, and when they were growing up, it's like the black Jamaican families would kind of like get to know each other, and all the kids would like play with each other and become like friends with each other, you know, give each other that kind of support. But with that 10-year gap, when I was growing up, it wasn't really like that for me, yeah, because that's when things were just like starting to change a lot in society, yeah, in the 90s, yeah, the 80s and the 90s, just changing a lot. So I didn't really have that, like, so basically what I'm saying is that area, yeah, it's always kind of like the black families in that area. It's kind of like that's just how it is in this area. Like if you're a black person, you're kind of like the black person of the village. You know, you just get looked at and labelled like, oh, you're the blackie. Like you're just black. You're nothing else. You're you're the black one. Yeah, and then I already have that issue in my own family, because all my family members, apart from my dad, they're all much lighter skinned than me. So it's just kind of like I just then have somehow become like even now like in the area, because I'm, as I keep saying, I'm still in the same area, but I'm in a different part of the same area. I'm in more posher. It's more posh here apparently. Yeah, so it's like I've just become that kind of like person of the village, like, oh, it's the black one of the village, you know, like that's all there can be to me and my personality and my personage. It's just like, oh, she's the black one, like she's black, yeah, it's the black one, she's the black one of the village, yeah, she's black, oh wow, like she's black. Yeah, so that's just the scenario, that's the situation. Yeah, she's black, yeah. So then what happened was, so then there's another black family in the area, and the lady, she owns Black Caribbean food shop. So there came a stage where every time I went outside to go to shops, I would see her on the street. Like she'd always wear this like black coat. She always like had a wig like this. Like she'd wear a wig and then like this black coat. And then I'd see her standing there, and she'd just be like looking at me, like staring at me, like staring at me, like just looking at me, kind of thing. So, as you can probably tell from these experiences, I've always been kind of person. I just keep myself to myself. Anyway, I've always been like that. Okay, so I'd probably acknowledge her, but I didn't want to smile too much at her or say hello too much at her, because I really didn't want to get friendly with her, to be honest with you. But I kept seeing her, this black lady. So because I kept seeing her every time I went to the shop, I said to myself one time, you know what? Just say hello to her. She came up to me and was like, oh, you such and such, and ready. And that's how I got talking with her. So because I'm now talking with this lady, yeah, she's black, I'm black. Yeah, and then it's like the neighbours, the other women who I live in that communal block with, they're like, okay, like that's her friend. Okay, I really didn't class this lady as my friend. Okay, she kept, every time I was going outside, I'd see her. So somehow we got talking. Next thing I know, she's like knocking on my door. Okay, so I thought, okay, I'll just, I'll chat to her. I'm here by myself. I don't really know too many people in the area, so I'll just talk with her. I'll get to know her. She probably just needs a friend. Like I need a friend. Not knowing that on one occasion, because people kept telling me that she's not mentally okay upstairs. And sometimes I'd be talking with her, and some of the things she'd be saying, I'd be like, okay, she seems like she goes in and out of lucidity, of like sense. You know, sometimes she's talking sense, and other times she's talking not so much sense. I just thought, okay, I try not to judge too much because I myself have been through the mental health system. So I thought, well, I wouldn't like for people to judge me and just be like, oh, she's the crazy. Because I got so used to everywhere I go, people like, oh, she's the crazy one, she's the crazy one, she's the crazy black bitch. So I thought, well, I'm not going to just stereotype and judge and treat her the same way, just shun her and treat her like, oh, she's the crazy black bitch. Yeah, because I know what that feels like. So I thought, you know what? I'll just talk to her, you know. She seems like she needs a friend, that I need a friend. I'll just talk to her a bit. Not knowing that on occasion, I went round to her flat, not knowing she was going to lock me in her flat. She was like, let's go here a bit. She goes, I'm just going to go shop and I'll be back in 2 seconds. And I'm sitting in a flat by myself. It's the middle of the day. And like an hour's going by, 2 hours is going by. I'm phoning her. Luckily, I had my phone with me, and I'm phoning her. She's not answering the phone, and I'm thinking, what is going on? I'm just sitting here, and where is she? Like, she's not coming back, and she'd locked the door. So it got to the point where I had to phone police to tell them to come and break down the door. I had to tell them, I've come round to this lady's house. She's locked me in her house. I can't get out, and I need to go and collect my son from baby group in half an hour or whatever. So, because I had to go and get my son from baby group, I had to phone police to come and let me out. So they came over, they knocked the door down, and I had to go, and I had to let them know her name. Obviously, they had her address now. And so through this scenario, as I said, her sister owned a shop. So I ended up telling her sister. And her sister was like, oh yeah, she's not very well, she's not well, this and that. So I was like, oh, right, okay, I'll see what you mean now. And now I could see what people meant, like she wasn't well, basically. And I just felt like people were trying to put me with her, like two black bitches, like two peas in a pod. Yeah, like, oh, she's the crazy black bitch, and you're a crazy black bitch. So you should just pally up together because you got no friends and just go around like with the crazy black bitch. Yeah, that's basically what I felt was going on. So then my housing, I can't remember exactly, but they kept phoning me, and I kept reporting my neighbour to them, but then they kept like emailing, sending me these strange emails. I can't remember what it was all about now, because I really was on like my best behaviour. I didn't even know I'd do it. I had my little one, and I'd be looking after my son, and I'd go to the shops, and that's about as much as I would do. So not even talk with anyone. So, but I remember they kept trying to cause, like, make out like I'm just like I'm some whatless teenager who's just like doesn't know how to behave or something. I can't remember exactly. And then it's like it's like they kept trying to tell me about myself, and then I kept having to tell them about themselves. Like, well, you got the wrong person. Who you need to address is this lady upstairs. Yeah, and for example, this incident, yeah, with you know, and they like keep trying to give you like a slap on the wrist or something. I can't even remember what about. Maybe if I can't even remember, just stupid things, like maybe I would leave the pushchair outside or something, and then they'd have to email me about it. Just something as like petty and not pathetic as this. Oh, you left the pushchair outside, and ready, and can you not do that again, please, and ready. Every other week, they would have some petty thing to try and pull me up about. I can't even remember. It was that petty. But I remember thinking, well, why they was trying to pull me up for as if I'm a teenager who doesn't know how to behave, who doesn't know how to act, when I got some muppet upstairs giving me noise disturbance in my head. And then I got another stupid muppet smoking out the window with an ash dropping on my head as I'm walking out. And then I've got this other muppet, this other thing I had to report to them to let them know. That's it. They tried to say to me, I'm bringing people to the communal area who are not supposed to be there. And I had to let them know, well, in fact, this lady, she's not my friend. I've just met her, and I can't control her and her actions and her behaviour. That was it. They were saying you've got a friend who's hanging about outside in the communal area and she's disturbing the other residents. So can you tell her about it or something like this? And so I had to say to them, listen, this lady, she's not my friend. Okay, she's like a stalker. Everywhere I go, she's there staring at me. So I've gotten to know her, and I'm not her mother. I can't control. She's her own entity in her own. She's an autonomous person, okay, with her own brain, yeah, her own faculties. I can't control her behaviour. So don't be trying to put her behaviour on me. Okay, I had to tell them like this. And yeah, I just wanted peace and quiet, okay, to grow my son up nicely around nice people in good area. And I was like, you know what? How long was I there for? I was there for about 3.5 years. And by this time, my sister had moved back to Solihull. My mum had moved back to Solihull, the posher part of Solihull. You know, my sister was like, you know what? There's a flat going in Solihull town centre. Why you don't go and view it and have a look at it? I said, you know what? I didn't come back to the manor to just deal with the same scenarios all over again, with the same muppet behaviours, or the same muppet people. I said, you know what, let me just go and view that flat, okay, in Solihull town centre and see what it's like. And so that's what I did. I said, I need to get away from these, because these people were just, you know what happened was like, you know what happens is like, you keep going through repetitive cycles to the point where it's like a pattern that you yourself have to break. And it got to that stage where I started now to really understand like this repeating cycle. I said, you know what? This repeating cycle is not going to continue, and I need to get out of this repetitive cycle, business, whatever this scenario situation is, what's going on. So I went to go and view the flat. I liked it. And I decided, I said, you know what, I've got to move away from these muppet people with the muppet behaviours, because it's as if when I was in Wolverhampton, people were already trying to ruin my life, okay, and it just seems to me like these people are just, the people around me, they just want to see my life going more and more like this. I said, before I allow these people to let that happen, I best just get my ass out of this flat and go and move. As nice as the flat was, as nice as I made it, I said, you know what, it's better I just get my ass out of this place and go move, yeah, to Solihull, like proper Solihull. Because I didn't know, when I was growing up all that time, I didn't know people were like this. Okay, I need to just get away from these type of people. Okay, so that's what I did. So that's to conclude the reason, yeah, why I ended up living in this flat, yeah, in this one bedroom flat above the shops in Solihull town centre. Okay, so that is part 11 of Nosy Nuisance. Noisy Nuisance Neighbours. And so I will continue on in my next set of videos as to the status of my eviction order of where I'm currently living. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a comment and let me know, have you been through anything similar with Noisy Nuisance, Nosy Neighbours, and what you did to resolve the situation. So yeah, thanks for watching, and go and check out my next video. I will see you in my next video.